Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday to you. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. We're at the boat show and Water Sports Expo. Don't forget the water sports part. Hey, you know what? Anything even remotely adjacent to anything water related. I mean, this company right in front of us is showing you how to get your is the life jacket for the dog. You know what I mean? We got the dog life jackets going on.
Stunt puppy.
Yeah, man. They got it all here. So, and don't forget too, they have the guy with the cheese and the meats. Remember?
That's my favorite guy.
I lose a lot of money every year at this place, only to the cheese and meat guy. So I did step on a $1 million boat.
Oh my gosh!
And I stepped right back off again. No, I stayed on it. It was phenomenal. It's actually it's like right in front of us. You go step on it, and it's got screens everywhere. And
would you say that you climbed aboard?
I did climb aboard. I didn't sing the jingle because it got a little weird
Why not?
yesterday. Well, because I didn't want to give away that I was excited to be there. You got to show.
What you do. You approach the boat.
Yeah.
And then as you're about ready to step on the boat, you say, the boat show is here, and then you climb aboard.
And then when you kick off your loafers, your sailor loafers, they know, oh, your boat shoes. Okay. Oh, I'm serious. I'm serious about being at the boat show.
Boat guy, huh?
Yeah, oh, yeah. So we just tied some flies here at the Fly Tie Theater next to us. So we've got it all going here. Welcome to the program. A hearty congratulations to our colleague Hans Olsen, who is walking away from the biz. But you know what? Leaving it better than he found it, to be quite honest. And so the good news is we still get to interact with Lloyd and Scotty on a daily basis, and I'm interested to see what the future is going to look like there on that portion of the day. But what you do know is that those guys are pros, and, man, I hope Hans finds exactly what he wants in that. I can guarantee just at least the stress of the radio part. It might be replaced by other stress, but I hope he gets some extra time back and maybe some extra dollars in the pocket, and he does all the things he wants to do. So congrats to him, man. It was awesome.
I don't think there's a Sports Talk Radio Hall of Fame in Utah, but if there was, he would be inducted first ballot.
Very neat. Oh.
An incredible run he had. You look at all the memories, and it was fun listening to the show, and I listened on the way in, and Coach Mack was there. I mean, you can't have Kansas Lack show without Coach Mack.
And sharing
all the memories,
sharing inappropriate stories. It has to happen.
I mean, essentially, he is. I don't know how else to put it, but to call it radio memes. Like
I know it's exactly.
Kansas had so many radio memes over 19 years,
yep.
And all of you that listened and enjoyed their show, and Scotty and Hans have their show for 12 years has just been phenomenal. All the great moments, they're not going to go away. You're going to remember those, and we'll still in checking with Hans every now and again on BYU coverage. He's still going to do the radio broadcast with Greg Wrubell, and we're not going to let him go completely. We're going to keep tapping into his expertise and talking to him during football season. That's for sure.
Oh no! If we can get free work out of you, we'll do it. Like that's definitely our.
Well, I know
what
I know what he charges, and it's not going to be free.
You've had to tap into that already. Did you already get sold some insurance?
Not yet.
Oh boy, that's a quick.
He's
turnaround.
got bigger fish to fry than me.
That's a quick turnaround. All right, we got lots to get to here at the boat show. Yes, we're at the Modern America Expo Center here in Sandy, and it's one of those, JJ, you know when it's serious. You know when it's a serious show when they open all the doors for all the exhibitors to be able to put everything out there on the floor. And, yes, it is every square inch of this place covered in awesome things that you're going to walk around to. And so there's the long-term commitment you can make on the boat, and there's a lot of short-term commitments you can make around here too. There's a lot of the trinkety stuff is the stuff I like to buy. You know what I mean? Like you just walk by and you go, I do need a new set of sunglasses. I do need to get back into this thing with with what we're doing here. So we're going to be chatting with some of the folks from the boat show here throughout the afternoon, and we're going to keep you up to date on what's going on. And so it's Yeah, it's an exciting time, man. I mean, I always love coming to the boat show. I brought my little boys for the first time. I didn't know. I never remember who's who of my kids who I've brought to these kinds of things and who haven't. But they were like, have you ever done this before? I was like, oh, I've done some boat shows, my guy. And they were like, we've never come. And I was like, I have shorted these guys of the experience of the boat show. And the first boat they stepped on was the $1 million boat.
Good choice.
Not a good idea. No, but show price, it's like $780. Yeah. That's JJ. That's $280,000 in savings. Is it? That's
well, if you're going to save $220,000, that as I think a lot of people do that kind of math. They go, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have gotten that deal. Right.
I saved us.
You saved
$240,000.
You saved $250,000.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way to put it.
How many of you have saved $250,000 in a day?
Yeah.
You can do that at the boat show today.
Imagine what you could buy with $250,000 that you saved today at the boat show.
Well, you do that, and then you can go out and get some of this other stuff.
I love it. Oh man, I don't even have a dog, and I want to get one of these life jackets.
You could get your next dream build right here. You could get a timeshare.
I'm telling you, it's a fun time to
luxury
come down.
surf community.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those. Yeah, there's
cool.
a lot of that going on. Hey, let's kick the show kicked off as usual. As usual. As you can tell, I've got food on the brain as well.
Let's do a cooking show.
Let's kick everything off here officially on the program because Alex Napolis knows. Heaven knows we've put together a show. We better get to it. Coming up in just a little bit, Travis Yost is going to join us. He talks, of course, hockey, all things hockey with TSN, and he's going to give us his thoughts on the historic meltdown that I found myself absolutely kicking myself going, congratulating all the Mammoth friends that I have via text. I think it may have been me that ruined it all in that one moment by celebrating way too early.
It was hard to watch.
It was tough, that last 2.5 minutes. Luckily, it didn't last long because it was so close to the end of the game that it happened. So we'll talk to Travis Yost, get to his thoughts on the historic comeback that the Carolina Hurricanes put on in those last 2 minutes, and it is historic. So, all right, let me see here. JJ, let's get the cut going here so we can get right into it. We've got tons to get to today. Let's do it right now with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, guess what we got going on here? It's that time of the day for us to bring you the kudos to the people we love who have come on board. It's Croft Fireplaces. Croft Fireplaces, of course, sponsors of our Hot and Cold we do every day here, and lots going on in the world of trying to figure out. I mean, the interesting thing about, well, by the way, Croft Fireplaces. Just get to know them, see what they do. You can save on installation right now by going to their website. Go check them out. Croft Fireplaces. All right. Let me ask you this, JJ, because I was looking at all the different things that we could talk about today, and there's so many things that we start to get in. A lot of times we're at the boat show, and it indicates that the Super Bowl is coming up. Like, a lot of times it's on Super Bowl weekend. It just so happens to not be that this year. We're a week ahead, which is actually kind of nice because there are so many things that are surrounding the Super Bowl, the stories that are there. The NFL still hasn't figured itself out all the way as coaches. It was a historic year of firings, and so you have to have a historic year of hirings across the league as well. But, of course, college football is high on our list of things that always fire me up. And there's an interesting thing about what Indiana did by winning the national championship, which was rocked the boat. It's okay for Ohio State to win the national championship, right?
Yeah,
I think even if Oregon won if Oregon won their first national championship, people would be like, you know what, they were due. They're getting good. They're
finally broke through after all those appearances in the national
and it's that old Pac-12 team that we allowed to come get in with the big dogs. I think people would have accepted that a little bit more. Indiana is a hard one to swallow. There are a lot of people who are looking at that, and they look at it and they think that the state of college football has got, and of course the most loud voices on this, that college football is going in the wrong direction is your friends at the SEC. And it doesn't shock me, but an SEC survey result of fans on the state of the conference and on Indiana and the future of college football did not go well. It was very pointed. This is not a group who's very happy. Now, again, a survey of SEC fans is going to yield hilarious results, okay? on any given time, on any given topic. But the
when
fans,
are they going to fire old Byrne?
But it is that. And Alabama's a perfect picture of what the rest of the conference feels like, because Alabama goes, this is not us. Like, you're not supposed to be there. We are. You're not supposed to be having success. We are. And as a whole, as a conference, they feel the same way. And they think that it actually has put college football behind on progress because of how well Indiana did. And it's a very, like, the survey was very much along the lines of, that's cute that they won it. I don't think it's good for the sport. A lot of people surveyed said Indiana winning it is not good for the sport. And of all the people that they asked all these things, I'm just wondering, at what point would they be okay? At what point would they be okay with the state of college football? It's the most competitive it's ever been, by the way. And that's the problem that they actually really have. They're not happy about the competitiveness. And they would like it to be more lopsided.
Because that's always been the narrative for the SEC, is
Yep.
it just means more. How can it just mean more when suddenly the Big Ten is the bully? The Big Ten is winning national championships again and again and again, while the SEC isn't even making it to the national championship game. So, bad for the game. Why? You know what's good for the game? People watching, people locked onto the sport. What were the ratings for the college football playoff national championship game between Indiana and Miami? I heard a lot of people talking before the game that week. No one's going to watch that
It's
game.
a 4.5%
Indiana and Miami.
dip.
No one's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
watch that. 30.1 million viewers.
Dissect that for
The
us.
most watched title game in 11 years and the second highest of the college football playoff era. It peaked at 33.2 million. 36% more people watched the game this year than last year.
What does like a game 7 of the NBA Finals bring in? Like, I just
Not even
because I
close.
won't ask the
We had a
Super
game
Bowl.
7 last year.
Right, and I won't ask the Super Bowl question because that obviously is its own thing.
I've got it right here.
What do you have?
So Game 7 of the NBA Finals, we just had one in 2025
Yeah.
between the Thunder and the Pacers. We don't get those very often. So we do have one that happened recently.
I would have actually had a hard time to reboot up in my head who was in it. You know when you do that every year?
That's why I'm here.
Which one was it? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that rating averaged 16.5 million viewers on
gosh.
ABC and ESPN.
That's
So
half.
That wasn't on like a fringe cable network. That was on ABC.
That's half.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals, half of what the national championship game audience was. Half.
Yeah, this sport's sinking, JJ.
Yeah, no.
Just
it's
sick of it.
You know, if Bama and Georgia aren't in it, just people aren't going to be interested.
Listen, I talked to my sister down there. She knows Kirby. And when they're on the first name basis with the coaches, she knows Kirby. And he ain't worried. Now, that was the other thing, is that there's a massive amount of people in this survey also that said, we're not that worried about it. We're not worried about you guys up there. You Northerners with your sports trying to come down and humble the SEC. But it has been a rough 3 years for these guys. It's not just about not winning the championship, not being in it is also embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
When you have 5 SEC teams who get in, the numbers are on your side, bro.
And the semifinal team this year was not Georgia or Alabama.
I'm telling you,
or LSU.
They don't
it was
like
Ole Miss,
They don't like it.
who they don't respect and like either.
If it was Mizzou, they would say the same thing,
Oh.
like, interesting.
That's basically a Big 12 team.
I know. I'm telling you, that is how they treat this thing. It's
Yep.
not just about the SEC. It's also about. I just love reading the survey because they're so mad about it. They're so up in their head about it. So 45% said that the transfer portal is the biggest reason that they missed the national championship last year. I'm going to go ahead and interpret that for you, JJ. 45% of the surveyors were asked about why they were left out of the college football national championship in the last 3 is because of the transfer portal. That by itself should be the number one seller of why the transfer portal has worked.
Yeah.
For us, for college
It's
football
spread the
fans.
talent around.
It has been phenomenal. 50% of the folks said a 16-team playoff should be the format. 6% said 24. What that means is a lot more than half are not. They want it to be better than the 12.
It means they just take the talking points from the commissioner and treat it as gospel.
Sure. And then 50% also said that they should eliminate the SEC championship game. Oh, now. Remember that was an
Interesting
option.
thought.
Remember we were talking about that. Some guy gave the option of, hey, give up all the conference championship games, and you play 13 games through the year, and you've got yourself a big group of playoff contenders, and you end that thing on January 1st because then you can take the whole month of December basically to play that thing out.
The championship game thing is an interesting thought. Here's the problem nowadays with conference championship games is these teams get into a conference championship game, Alex, and some of them haven't even played half the conference.
Right.
You have the ACC has 17 teams. You have the Big Ten with 18. The SEC and the Big 12 have 16. You're playing 9 conference games, 8 in the SEC. So SEC teams are playing half the conference. How do you become a champion of a conference when you've only played half the conference?
Well, and
it doesn't even make sense.
And when you used to, and they finally got on board with it, when they used to prioritize the conference, or when they used to prioritize even fewer games than everybody else did in the conference, right? So they have all these teams in there, and then they go, yeah, we're going to play 8. We're going to play 8. And it's not just half, because I told you, when they add that 9th one, which they're going to start doing next year, it's going to be even tougher.
Right.
And the numbers are just not going to work on their side.
Let me use a Big 12 example. Next year, Texas Tech does not play BYU and Utah in the regular season. Texas Tech is going to walk to Arlington. Walk. There's no competition. Maybe Houston? Who's beating Texas Tech in the regular season?
I love how in 2026
if BYU and Utah
Houston
aren't getting a shot at it.
I know. Well, so you rely on those other ones.
But how is Texas Tech truly a conference championship champion if they never play BYU and Utah?
That's wild.
Can you imagine that? This year it worked out great because they all played each other, but that's not going to be the case next year. And I think we all agree, maybe you throw Houston in there, like I said, maybe Arizona, but the top 3 teams in the conference next year are BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah. They're not playing each other. At least they're not playing Texas Tech, and Texas Tech is not playing them. So just from a Big 12 perspective, you see the dilemma that exists when these conferences get too big. How do you crown a true champion when you only play half the conference? It doesn't make any sense. So I actually don't have a problem with them getting rid of those games.
Yeah, I'm so.
I know why they're going to play them because of money.
Right.
But just from a fan standpoint, from a competitive standpoint, I don't really care.
But the argument of you need us in that you need us in that national championship game, otherwise you're not going to get the numbers. Disproven this year.
Absolutely. Everybody loved the Indiana story. People tuned in to watch it. And it was a great game.
And Miami was out of the ACC that everybody looked at and went, what a garbage conference.
It was a great run.
Yeah.
And who did Miami take down in order?
2 big ones. Ohio State. Wait.
Texas A&M and
right,
the SEC.
At their place.
Yes.
Ohio State by double digits.
Yes.
And then they get to who did they play in the semifinal? Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And then they beat Ole Miss in the semifinal. My goodness. 2 SEC teams and the reigning national champion.
That's a heck of a run.
And that's why you actually get the views, too, as people go, I'm into this, man. All right. Take a break here. We'll come right back. We've got more to go around the corner. Travis Yost, TSN. He's going to give us an update on what happened last night with that Utah Mammoth team who was on its way to one of the best road trips ever. It turned real nasty real quick those last few minutes. So we'll get to Travis, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Next, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We are here at Mountain America Expo Center here in Sandy, and it is the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo. Go enjoy, or come down and enjoy it. Bring everybody along. There's a lot of boats, but that's not all they do. It's not just a one-trick pony here. Tons of boats, tons of anything that has to do with the water, but also anything even close to adjacent to the water sports industry. You got yourself right here under one roof, so it's awesome. Joining us on the program right now, Travis Yost, TSN. He's been with us on this program before. Never after a historic meltdown that what happened last night in Carolina for the Utah Mammoth, because it doesn't really happen very often. First time in the salary cap era that a team was able to come back from a multi-goal, from being behind by multiple goals, and then they ended up losing this thing. It was 4-2. We were all patting each other on the back in our text group that are all watching these games, and just like that, it was 5-4 in a historic meltdown and a weird end to a really, really good road trip for this team. Travis, That was wild, man. Those last 3 minutes were phenomenal, but also really bad if you're a Mammoth fan.
Yeah, no kidding. By the way, I just drove past you guys. I'm like, it's a good time to sell boats. It's like 90 degrees outside in Utah right now.
It feels like it.
Holy cow. I'm like sweating. I'm sweating driving back. But, I'll say, right, games like that, for how good the Mammoths have been playing the last 2 months, boy, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the beauty of stringing together so many wins in a row is you kind of reset your performance expectations for a team. But, a couple things, right? Obvious meltdown, right? And I think the Utah coaching staff and players talked about, trying to own it and being accountable for what was a late game meltdown. But, you're also talking about tail end of a road trip against one of the premier teams in the league, one of the very few teams, by the way, who actually has outplayed Utah on the year. I think Utah's in the top 6 now in goal differential in the league. One of those teams ahead of them are the Carolina Hurricanes, bona fide Stanley Cup contenders. So very tough loss, but you hope it's an isolated issue and that this team can regroup because, this side of the Buffalo Sabres, they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now.
Yeah, Travis, the truth is we didn't expect them to win that game, and so the result was not shocking, but the way it happened was. We'll see how they deal with it. But the bottom line is this Utah Mammoth team is playing excellent hockey. Even in that game, for the minus the last 3 minutes, they were phenomenal on that last game of a road trip. What level of hockey? You're watching all these teams, so we're really lasered in on the Mammoth, but just how high of a level of hockey are the Utah Mammoth playing right now during this hot stretch in the month of January?
Do you want a stat or an argument? I got two.
Both.
I got one of each for you.
Give
Which
us
one do you
both.
want? You want the stat? Okay.
Yeah,
Name
let's do
me
the stat,
which
and then we'll
teams-
argue afterward about it. Yeah.
Which teams in the league have a more prolific offense than the Mammoth year to date?
It's probably got to be maybe the Avalanche, and
That's it.
that's it.
Right there. That is
Okay.
it. The Colorado Avalanche. Utah is now currently the number 2 offensive team.
Wow.
Certainly 5-on-5 in the league. And by the way, I think that's underpinning a lot of what you're seeing in terms of, standing success and why they've aggressively moved up in an otherwise, very tough, at least top half of the division. So, yeah, offense is carrying the day for the Mammoth, especially 5-on-5. There's no doubt about that. The other piece, though, and the argument is this, which I think – and by the way, I promise is sheer coincidence. So, I try and set my articles. I file twice a week, and I typically cover, I would say 90% of it is Canadian teams or adjacent to Canadian team news, trade deadline stuff, et cetera. This Monday coming up, these Canadians from land to land, from across the country, they're going to read about the Buffalo Sabres and Utah Mammoth because the two franchises with probably the two most checkered, last 2-decade history between the Coyotes debacle and, the Sabres 14-year playoff drought. I mean, these were, 3 steps below what I would consider an afterthought franchise. And, yeah, moving to Salt Lake City, Hope Springs Eternal, new franchise, second year, blah, blah, blah. But, these are two teams that no one really ever has thought of or spared a waking moment thinking about when it comes to the playoff discussion. And yet Buffalo and Utah are two of the hottest teams in the league. They're both inside the top 6 in goal differential on the league, which is by far the biggest predictor of what is to come over the next 30-some-odd games. And like I said, Utah – and the Sabres, the connective tissue, and I don't want to talk too much about Buffalo, but I think the connective tissue is this. If you don't have a McDavid or McKinnon, and by the way, there's 3 teams in the league that have this supernova at the top of the lineup, this all-time eraser, and you don't have, the all-time outperforming goalie like a Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg or an Ilya Sorokin on the island, you need a team that is built off of depth competency, a team that's able to row 3 lines at least and 2 to 3 defensive pairings that are going to outplay the opposition whenever they're on the ice. You cannot have weak spots around the lineup. And that's one of the beauties of the NHL's hard cap league is, if you want to invest aggressively at the top of the lineup, you've got to fill in the rest of the roster with either big hits through the draft and development or you've got to find real diamonds in the rough. Utah, obviously, through by the work previously with the Coyotes, a lot of these prospects have now matured into NHL ready or at this point veterans in the case of guys like Clayton Keller, and they look like one of the most cohesive teams in the league. Frankly, if you look from December 1st on, Utah looks simply like one of the best teams in the NHL. And it almost makes you want to throw up after you watch a Carolina Hurricanes game like last night, where it's like it was right in front of us. But there are so few holes on this Utah team in a good way that it more than offsets any concerns you might have about what does the top end of this team look like. The special teams is average. The penalty kill is like 15th in the league. Okay. But 5-on-5, especially notable in the playoffs when whistles can disappear in a blink, they are one of the best 5-on-5 teams in the league. It's because they have very few weaknesses across the lineup, and keep your fingers crossed on injury health and things of that nature that you can't control. This Utah team not just looks playoff caliber, but you start wondering if they can maybe chase down a Minnesota and actually secure one of those top 3 spots in the Central rather going into the wild card. The one thing about the Mammoth is, I think making the playoffs would be an all-time, it'd be a fantastic year 2 development. I think we even talked about that early in the year is that should be the goal, qualifying for the playoffs. They're talented enough. They're ready for it. You don't want to play Colorado or Vegas in the first round. You just don't. I mean, you don't want to be in that business. Not that the other options are that much better, but, if you're Utah and if you're a Mammoth fan, you're getting excited about this team, the last thing you want to see is a 7-game series with the Avalanche in the playoffs.
We have to note that they've done this run in January without Logan Cooley.
Yeah, and then Dylan Guenther for the last couple games too. That's why I was like, last night was so awesome. I think for a lot of people watching it, they go, these wins that they're getting without these guys, their third line. I mean, when Kyler Yamamoto's putting in 2 goals and an assist,
Michael Carcone and Kyler Yamamoto are playing like all-stars.
Yeah, and against that team, it was really interesting to watch. You bring up a phenomenal point because it was like, yeah, they were already dealing with some of this stuff because we got to see last year's version of this team that didn't have the depth and didn't play like a team very often.
No doubt about that. And I think the name you brought up, that is I think indicative of things are going relatively well for this organization right now. Say what you will about Kyler Yamamoto. I mean, he's a fourth-liner journeyman type who's good enough to be in the league, but he bounces around. He's been in the AHL quite a bit. And he's the guy that you typically are plugging into the lineup as your 12th or 13th forward, or you're calling him up from the AHL and just hoping that you don't get killed when he's on the ice. The Mammoth are outscoring teams 5-on-5, 20-12 with Yamamoto on the ice. And by the way, Carcone is very similar. They're +6 there too. And that goes to my point, right? When your third line is routinely outperforming the middle 6 of other teams around the league, it takes so much pressure off of your top line and your top pairing where you're expected to dominate and control games. And by the way, they have. And so one of the things about the Cooley injury that I think is notable, one player who I think has really stepped up his game is Clayton Keller. And that's exactly what you expect from a veteran player who's kind of been through the rigor, so to speak. Frankly, I think, and by the way, we shouldn't have this conversation without saying, the Mammoth are getting I don't think he's the winner, but Vezina Trophy finalist, Karel Vejmelka. I don't think that's I think that's on the board for sure. And so they're getting insane goaltending, average special teams, a very good 5-on-5 team. And I want to underline one very specific thing. This is a team with $14 million, in excess of $14 million in cap space going into the trade deadline next month. You're already hearing names like Artemi Panarin. I know Sportsnet are broadcasting peer in Canada. I know a couple of reporters have already linked Utah to Panarin, which makes sense because they've got both the cap flexibility and a lot of younger players that teams like the Rangers would covet. But I don't think I think Utah has a real chance to be a big buyer at this trade deadline, further supplement this lineup. And I think the real question is where do you improve it? I think there's opportunity to maybe tinker across the bottom 6 forward group a little bit and upgrading there. But this is a very well-rounded team. And if I'm a Mammoth fan, no hype. This is one of the hottest teams in the league. If you haven't been out to a game, and now is your opportunity. I think the only negative news, frankly, guys, you got a 20-day Olympic break coming. That's icing this hot streak in an emphatic way.
You're right. You don't want this team to stop playing while they're hot. But they will give them a chance to get healthy and heal up, especially with Cooley and Guenther. We don't know if we're going to see Guenther before the break or not, but they'll definitely be back after that break. How interesting is that trade deadline going to be? How active do you think teams in the league are? What are some? You mentioned Panarin. What are some other names out there that could be moved around that trade deadline that you're hearing?
I certainly think Panarin's near the top of the list. One of the reasons why Panarin is so interesting for people who aren't necessarily aware of kind of what's going on in New York, Panarin's one of the better players in the league, 34 years old. He's still a point-per-game player. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. But one of the reasons that it's become so notable, I would say, is the Rangers came out and basically, I mean, not even basically, they literally said, we are going to be selling, please call us, this is a massive rebuild. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but they couldn't have been more clear about what they are potentially putting on the table. I think for other names, if you're the Mammoth, and by the way, like, this is not a light expectation. I expect the Mammoth to be significant buyers at the deadline. They have both the bullets you need, a ridiculous amount of cap space, and the prospects or young players or assets that other teams would covet. Outside of Panarin, who obviously has a colossal contract, I think there's other names within the Rangers lineup that could be interesting. Vinny Trocheck could be an interesting middle six upgrade if you're Utah. Slide him right into that lineup. I also think two teams that have had horrific years in the Western Conference. Mammoth have played them a couple times. St. Louis Blues and the Vancouver Canucks. I think Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou are two names to watch. Again, forwards. From the Blues organizations. Robbie Fabry as well. He's a pending UFA. These are all, I would say, middle six forwards, if that's where Utah was looking to upgrade, especially assuming Gunther and Cooley get back to full health. And then the Vancouver Canucks are another team to watch. The name there that intrigues me, you'll hear a lot about Evander Kane, just because he's been around the league for so many years and he's kind of bounced around. I think the interesting name there is Elias Pettersson, who looked like one of the most promising players in the entire league the first couple of seasons in Vancouver. I mean, truly, he was in that, one-of-one type category. And his career has really flatlined over the last couple of years. He's also got a pretty sizable contract. And I think a lot of teams may be reticent to pay, 90 cents on the dollar for a player who already looks like he's declining at a relatively young age. But I have seen this story enough where I think a two-sided coin is always worth considering here, which is as the talent around any player outside of McDavid and Draisaitl erodes, production can erode as well. And I would be fascinated to see what a player like Pettersson could do in a much more talented and deeper lineup that the Mammoth currently have. Vancouver's not in the division, so that also offers up another interesting opportunity as a trade partner. But all this to say, I would be stunned. Stunned would be an understatement if the Mammoth did not upgrade this lineup at the trade deadline. I think they are on my extremely short list of teams that I expect to be buyers in the next month.
Well, listen, Bill Armstrong knows what he's doing. He's a great GM, and I think that he's a guy who, if he sees something, he'll make a move. And they set it all up to be able to make these types of moves right now. And so I think that they look, the second half of the season, which we kind of obviously it's less than a half a season left, but that Olympic break, of course, is kind of breaking the season up for us. But looking forward to it, see what the Mammoth can do, not just at the trade deadline, but if they can keep hot. Certainly they have a couple games left at home before they get into the break, but looking forward to this one. And, Travis, we're going to keep you on the short list of calls so we can get it ready for this playoffs. We're still getting used to this, man. Like, you got to walk us through every step of this thing, man, so we appreciate it.
Amen. I got a 10-second question for you guys.
Yes,
now that you've seen how good this team is qualifying for the playoffs the bar to the clear, or do you want to see them win around?
No, we were all the same boat.
The expectations are going up.
The expectations was, hey, snag a wild card spot. That's what everybody has said this year. Like, that's what everybody said. But when you start to when you put together the month that they had, which was the best month of January that this franchise has ever had in its history, then you start talking, all right, maybe they can run down that third-place team in their division.
11 points out.
But, I mean, it's
a big climb.
It is, but they're in such a better spot last year. At this point last year, because we talked about this, Travis, too, and I'm going long on this, but they were at 43 points through 41 games last year, and that's where they were this year. They got into this stretch, and they have cleared by far what they were doing at this point last year because they had a not very good January and going into February last year. And so that's the difference. They made some moves, and they actually have gotten to be such a better team in that time frame. So looking forward to it.
Thought. I'll leave you with this little statistical nugget. They are on pace. So if they hold their pace through 82 games, this will be the best single season this franchise had going back to 1996. Best single season they have ever had from an 82 game profile. So
awesome.
that is what we're looking at. That's what's on the board right now.
There you go. Travis, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again.
Take care.
There you go. And yet they'll still be in third place. Maybe. They're battling for third or fourth
league,
place.
Man, but that's phenomenal, and that's an interesting thing. You know, we don't think about the Coyotes because, you know, but they honestly are still attached. The truth is, a good chunk of all these guys and Coach Turney were part of the Coyotes, and so
that's a cuss word around here, JJ.
We have to acknowledge that is the history, and that's the history they're dealing with. In this franchise, those players, all that they have not had this kind of success. This is new to everybody involved, and so it's exciting that, and we're spoiled as Utah hockey fans. We get to enjoy it in 2 years, what fans in Arizona never really got to enjoy.
Oh, for sure, yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Can you hear me now, JJ?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Little technical
I just am
you nailed it.
I'm a low talker. Yeah, right. That's
no one's ever called you a low talker.
Never been said.
There's been a lot of things said about you. That's not one of them.
That is not one of them. So we've got a couple things going on. By the way, at the end of our program, the Jazz tip off tonight at 7:30. They got a 6:30 pregame, so you'll hear that right here on the KSL Sports Zone. This next Wednesday is a Win Ticket Wednesday. So we've got stuff to give away. What are we going to be giving away? How about Brian Regan to the Delta Center coming up on Valentine's Day? Yeah, February 14th. That'd be a nice date. Get those tickets at SeatGeek.com right now, or win them next Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone.
Is he going to do the electric chair joke?
I hope so. I like his vibe, man.
I haven't heard it enough on the radio.
Utah,
I want to hear it again in person.
Utah loves clean comics, man.
Oh, and he's the cleanest.
We will pay.
Squeaky clean.
They're like, I don't know why, but Brian Regan has a 9th show that he's doing this weekend. It's crazy. They're like, I'm staying in Utah the rest of my life. I got a quick one here. Now, this is a little bit of a would you rather, but the rise of pickleball. Can I just talk about it real quick?
The rise of pickleball, huh?
I mean, I'm not like
You're not wrong.
I'm not breaking any news here.
You're not wrong. It just sounds funny when you say it like that.
So there is a National Collegiate Pickleball Association. Don't look over here. I don't want you to look over here because I want to kind of roll this out for you. All right? I have in front of me the top 50 programs in the country.
Wait, college?
Collegiate,
pickleball.
Yes. The NCPA.
Oh, they have an organization.
No, yeah, it's all sorts of things. The Civil Rights Pickleball Group, and it's also the NCPA.
Rights.
The NCPA, National Collegiate Pickleball Association. So that's what we're talking about. Top 10. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
Florida State. I was going to do this as a top 10, but you would just never get it. So top 10, Florida State.
So is that where Florida State's NIL money is going? Is that why the football program's struggling?
That hot pickleball money.
Okay.
Number 9 is Grand Canyon University. That doesn't shock me either. Florida Atlantic. Ohio State. Obviously, they got to find themselves like.
Are the Buckeyes winning everything?
I guess so. They're number 7 in the country. UCF actually has
Makes sense.
The number 6 team in the country.
They got to play you around.
How about this? Like, success just bleeds into all the programs. Indiana's number 5 in the country in the pickleball, National Collegiate Pickleball Association.
Signetti coach them too?
Yes. He does. Very, very inspiring. He gets those New Balances on and those white
really
tube
good
socks.
At evaluating pickleball
I
talent.
got you.
He's got an eye for it.
Number 4 in the country, our own Utah Valley University Wolverines.
Hey, go Wolverines.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's great. Virginia Tech at number 3. The University of Washington at number 2.
Jake Scott will be glad to hear that. We'll
I know.
talk about him about that in the next minute.
But listen, yeah, they don't have a lot to hang their hat on, the Hokies. So
it's all in pickleball now.
The University of Washington number 2, and then coming in at number 1. Any guesses?
Probably not in the Midwest.
No.
USC.
Utah Tech University is the number 1 collegiate pickleball team in the entire country.
Trailblazers, baby.
I'm gonna do what people in my neighborhood do. You should talk a little bit more about the Utah Tech pickleball team on your little show. That's what I get.
I'm sure we'll get an email.
Look, I'm going to refer back to this segment whenever that happens. So there you go. All right, we'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Jake Scott, pre- and post-game host and half for the Utah Jazz on the Jazz Audio Network and right here on the KSL Sports Zone, of course, with Jake and Ben 10 to noon every day. So we're going to take that break. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.